Over 600 years ago, a boy no older than 15 watched his father collapse in the fields, dead from exhaustion, and the tax collector didn't even blink. What happened next would shake England to its core and nearly topple a king. The year is 1381, and England is broken. The Black Death has killed half the population, but the lords still demand the same work from fewer hands. Workers are starving while nobles feast. And then King Richard announces a new tax, the third poll tax in 4 years. Every person over 15 must pay 1 shilling, whether you're a duke or a ditch digger. For a peasant family, that's 2 weeks of wages. For many, it's a death sentence. In a small village in Essex, tax collectors arrive demanding payment, but the villagers have nothing left to give. When one collector tries to assault a young girl to settle the debt, her father strikes him down. The village expects soldiers, punishment, death. Instead, something incredible happens. The neighboring villages hear the story and rise up too. Then, the next villages. Then, entire counties. A preacher named John Ball has been traveling England for years, imprisoned 3 times for asking one dangerous question. When Adam delved and Eve span, who was then the gentleman? If everyone came from Adam and Eve, why should some be born to rule and others born to serve? Now his words spread like wildfire. But here's what nobody expected. These aren't mindless rioters. They're organized. A man named Wat Tyler emerges as their leader, a former soldier who knows tactics. Within days, 60,000 peasants march on London, carrying farming tools as weapons. They burn tax records, destroy manor houses, execute corrupt officials, but they don't loot. They don't harm ordinary people. They have one target: the system itself. The young King Richard is only 14 years old, hiding in the Tower of London while his city burns. His advisors tell him to crush the rebellion, but Richard does something that will define his reign. He agrees to meet them. At Mile End, the teenage king faces 60,000 angry peasants. Wat Tyler presents their demands. Richard, still just a boy, spurs his horse forward alone toward the rebels and shouts words that echo through history. "I will be your leader." He promises justice, promises change, promises everything they fought for. Within weeks, Richard breaks every promise. The charters are revoked. Wat Tyler is declared a traitor. John Ball is hanged, drawn, and quartered. Hundreds of rebels are hunted down and executed. When peasant leaders remind Richard of his promises, he responds with words that reveal the truth. "Villains you were, and villains you shall remain." But here's what the nobles never understood. You can execute the rebels, burn the charters, pretend it never happened, but you can't make 60,000 people forget they stood together and made a king beg. Within decades, serfdom begins crumbling. Lords realize terrified workers are dangerous workers. The poll tax is never collected. And the question John Ball asked keeps echoing. When Adam delved and Eve span, who was then the gentleman? A 15-year-old boy watched his father die for nothing. 2 weeks later, he stood in an army that made kings tremble.